with an update about the situation in Ukraine and the situation at my home. Welcome to my home again. Well, it would be better maybe if I could make a video and edit it as always on my computer, and then put some music on and so on, and for you to enjoy a very crispy, nice video. But the situation right now is that it's not very possible for me to post these videos every day, and like to go live is basically the easiest option how I can do this. So I will wait a little bit for more people to join me. Hello, Ali. Hello, Yehovah. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to see all of you. Hello, Washington. Hello. By the way, just some minutes ago, I gave interview to some American TV station, news edition or something. Yeah, about the situation. So I decided, why not talking to you, to my dear followers. So Dante asked me about how are we. Yes, hi there. I was just hoping to watch you again. I hope you and your babies are doing fine. Well, and let me start with the situation with my babies. Well, basically my smallest baby is not fine at all. So this is Darina, she's with me. She fell asleep. Yeah, she's having fever. That's the problem. So today she had plus 38 degrees of high temperature, and I visited the hospital with her, and she has like stenosis here, which is a bad situation. So now we are doing this inhalations. She's like breathing, and that helps her to breathe easier. I had the same situation with Taras for many years until he was 4 years old. And looks now the same we have with Darina, some kind of heritage from allergies or I don't know, like breathing problems. So basically some of you say, Olena, leave now, stay somewhere in the field. And now somewhere in the field, we do not have medications. Yeah, so today I had access to the hospital. I went to the hospital, I bought medications, I made inhalations to Darina, I washed her when she went to the toilet and so on. So right now I stay where it is the safest for me, and for the moment this place is my home. Yes, at the same time you can see behind my back all these emergency backpacks. They are really filled with everything that, not everything, but most of the stuff that we need. So like we realize how serious is the situation, and we are disillusioned. Yes, we know what's going on. And yes, we are very much worried. And yes, I am afraid. Yes, I'm afraid, but I try not to panic and to stay calm. 3 hours ago, my friend, who is usually very calm and very stable, and she's not panicking, she called me and said, Olena, I just want you to know that I have like a secret information, but it's from good sources, that the full-scale invasion from Russia will start within the next 30 hours. And I said, so what? And she said that just please be careful. Yeah, just watch the news. And basically this is what we are all here in Ukraine doing, watching the news. Yes, we follow the news to see what's going on and what will be the next step of the president of Russia, of Putin. And we expect some provocations to happen. So usually how these kind of wars could happen, that they arrange a provocation, like explosion somewhere in Crimea, like today in Crimea, one of the regions is evacuated, and maybe, they can arrange their like attack, like explosion, and put all the blame on Ukrainian authorities, and then use it as a pretext for the full-scale invasion into Ukraine, to punish Kiev and kind of make us a peaceful, like bring peace, yes, with the arms, with the military invasion, bring peace into Ukraine, which is very sad, and that is very, like one of my friends said, I never before I was feeling like that it is so funny and scary at the same time. So this is how it feels. The other kids who are 5 and 7 years old, Katya and Taras, they are already sleeping. Luckily, my husband is back from work, very tired. He started smoking again. And after work, he drinks a bit of vodka, which is not too much, but yeah, a little bit. Yeah, and he started smoking. So this shows me that he is very nervous, even though he doesn't show it, but I can feel it. And basically today, for the first time, my children started to cry in the evening. They said that, Katya started crying and she said, "Mommy, I'm afraid." And like was asking of what, and she was saying of bombs, and like we started conversations, and Taras joined us, and then he started to cry. And I like, come on, guys, yesterday you said that you know where are your bomb shelters and everything is fine. Like under control, you are prepared, and they're like, no, mommy, we are not prepared. We didn't know it was so serious. So tonight, like about 1 hour ago, we had a very serious conversation again with children. Like really, we were talking what we're gonna do in case if the bomb shelling starts. We repeated where is our bomb shelter is. We looked in the apartment to the places where it is safer for us to be. Like they were learning how to hide under the tables. We have them in 3 rooms. We even decided, to learn how to hide in the bathroom, in the bathtub. And like psychologists, they say this will make you feel better and more prepared. But what I see, it is not the case. Basically, the kids, they just realize that everything is for real, and they were very scared. But luckily, they fell asleep because I was already prepared that we're gonna spend the night together, like all of us in one bed, in one room, because they are really afraid. Yeah, so like today, they finally understood that everything is for real. Like the danger is real. But yeah, we try to stay calm. We stay in Ukraine. Yeah, so tomorrow I will bring Katya to school. Taras will go to kindergarten. Darina will stay with me. And my husband, she's listening to me, you see, very attentively. Sergey will go to work. I don't promise to make another video because Darina, she is basically sick. So I will need to take care of her more than before. This is why I go live instead of filming some videos. Yes, so we try to stay calm and not to panic as much as possible in this situation. Yeah, I am still trying to smile. And thank you very much, my dear friends, that you support me a lot, that you watch my videos and you comment all this. And right now, everything that you write, very much. You must be strong and not show your fear in front of your children. David, yes, I'm trying. Yes, I'm trying to do so, but sometimes it's not very easy to do, especially with Katya, because she really feels how I feel. Sometimes I don't need to say anything. Yeah, but I'm working on this. Yeah, I'm trying. Thank you very much for all of your support. I received some cups of coffee on my on the website Buy Me a Coffee. New Patreon supporters. Thank you very much for all of this support. Thank you for personal messages too, but here I don't want to offend anybody. I really appreciate all of your support and help, but it's becoming a little bit exhausting to talk to many people, yes, and to answer like, how are you? Okay, so I'm very sorry if at some point I will not answer to someone in the personal message. That means I'm overwhelmed with the messages, or I have something urgent to do. And this urgent for me is, of course, the children right now. Okay, so I'm sorry if I do not respond. Now, regarding the news and the headline of this live video, that in Ukraine we have the state of emergency. It is officially declared. Our president already signed the document and the parliament voted for the state of emergency. So what does it mean in practice? in Kiev there will be no curfew. So we still can walk in the daytime, in the nighttime, but restaurants and nightclubs are allowed to work only from 7 o'clock in the morning till 11 p.m. Well, in this kind of situation, I do not really understand how you can go to the party and dance and the nightclub. On the other side, maybe if I didn't have children, I would do so. Just enjoy your life while you can. But yeah, if you for some reason wanted to come to Ukraine to the nightclub, then guys, sorry, they are not working after 11 p.m. because kind of we have a difficult situation in Ukraine. A full-scale invasion from Russia can happen at any moment. So I do not expect many tourists right now to come to Ukraine, which is really sad because it is already has a very bad impact on our economy. And of course, all the tour guides, they are in big trouble because of this. But it's not the biggest trouble so far that might happen here. Okay, so far it's not a big loss. I'm sure that I hope that everything will go back to normal and tourism will come back to Kiev, to Ukraine, to other cities of Ukraine and enjoy Ukrainian culture, food and everything here. So far, this state of emergency that we have, it is imposed for the next 30 days. And the main reason is just to increase security. So all the objects of the critical infrastructure, they will be much more protected. The security will be increased. The Chernobyl exclusion zone is already closed for the visits because we have like the nuclear spent fuel storages over there and the damaged reactor number 4 and so on. So the tourists are not allowed to go inside of the exclusion zone. And now the other nuclear power plants will be under the better control and the other objects of the critical infrastructure. All people need to carry their ID with them. Like if I go on a walk with Darina, I need to take not only her, but my passport, maybe her document about her too. What else? In practice, I do not think it will be like very strict. We already had this rule for COVID that people needed to bring this ID with them, but never ever anybody checked my passport, for example. So it's not something very serious, I think. In Kiev, on the main roads to enter the city and leave the city, there will be the checkpoints for like better control. So the vehicles inside and outside will be checked. And in general, we will have much more security on the streets. So far, public transport works normally, and so far they say that civil population will not feel any effects of this state of emergency. Yes. What else? Into the Ukrainian army, we have the call up of reserves. So more men and women right now will go to the army to protect the borders of our country and our independence. And, I read Erich Maria Remarque and other novels that are about peace. And I was always feeling uncomfortable to like openly support the soldiers, because soldiers are people who take guns in their hands and kill. And I think that killing for anything is bad. But at this point, I decided that I will donate some money to the volunteers who help our army to help the hospitals in the field. So this is what I will do. And by the way, Ukrainians right now, they in this couple of days already sent about 20 millions of hryvnias of donations to the army. So people like after Maidan in 2013-14, they do not wait for the government, corrupted government maybe, to spend money on the protection, even though they increased, by the way, the money from the budget to support the army. But people themselves, we are just donating our personal money to the army to support them. So this is what is the situation right now. And today we had a very serious talk. Well, how a talk. You know, my husband doesn't talk too much. Sergey, if you listen to me, you know I love you. I know you know, I know you know. So we, today he just, Katya asked him, Katya, our daughter, Daddy, will you go to the army? And he said yes. So that was our discussion. Yeah, that's all. So if needed, Sergey will go to the army too to protect Ukraine. If needed, I will do so too. Yes, but I hope that it will not be needed, because what these kids need, just a happy childhood, yes, a happy mother, a happy father at home, and somebody needs to be healthy first of all, because this is for the first time when she had such a serious disease. Yes, she has high temperature and she's coughing a lot. Yes, my dear. Yeah, so we have the problem. She was not sleeping the last night because of this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a very experienced like in reading, in going live and reading your comments, so I'm afraid I missed a lot of it. So right now, I basically, I told you, I think everything I wanted to about the situation in my family, how it feels to be in the country. Yes, so it's fine. But as I say, you know, it's like I have the feeling that I am just falling down from a skyscraper and I'm still falling, and I keep saying like, it's fine, it's all fine, it's still fine. And like, I expect to hit the ground at some point, but it didn't happen yet. And I still hope it will not happen. But the feeling is very crazy. Yes, like, but I just try to breathe. Yeah, I breathe. Okay, and now I will read what you write to me. Oh, so many hearts. We are very grateful for the updates, having the perspective of the citizens is helpful for us. Oh, that's very nice to hear this, that what I do is needed. I really feel the very great feedback from you, and this YouTube channel really helps me to feel better, because for you, I smile. I want you to see that, like, that we are strong, and it makes me strong at some point. If you know what I mean. So I thank you, Tanya, thank you, Dwight, that you hope that the baby will feel better soon. Ukraine is an artificial state. Ionut Tinika, thank you very much for this comment that Ukraine is an artificial state. I really want to make a video about this, about Ukraine, because yeah, Putin said that Ukraine is a territory, not a state, and it was artificially created by Lenin, which is such a bullshit, which is completely not right. You know how it all happened. Okay, I was trying to, you know, I want to make a very good video. This is why I'm not doing it, because it's not good enough to do. So basically, when in the 9th century, here, the local tribes on the current Ukrainian territory and a little bit of the current Russia territory, there were tribes living, Slavs, yes? And guys from Scandinavia, they came here and united these tribes, yes, and made a country which is called Kievan Rus. And that was a country with the capital in Kiev, here, yes? 9th century, 10th century, 11th century, Kiev was the capital of a very prosperous state, Kievan Rus, that had diplomatic relations with European countries. Our Prince Yaroslav, he gave his 3 daughters married to the King of France, one of them, to Hungary and Sweden. Yes, so that was a very cool state. At this time, in Moscow, instead of Moscow, there was just a swamp. There was nothing. Okay? So later, the city was founded over there too, with the name of Moscow. And that was Zalistya region. There were other tribes living there. not the ones that were living in Kiev and Rus. And those tribes, they had their prince. And he invaded Kiev and Rus, which is not a very big deal because many people were doing this back in the days. Yeah, so in the 12th century, Bogolyubsky, he like invaded Kiev, killed many people here, but he couldn't even rule here because local people didn't want him to be. Yeah, but that was the period of many wars and invasions. So what later happened in the 13th century, Tatar Mongols, they created a very big empire. Yes, Golden Horde, I think it's in English. And they occupied the territory where Moscow is situated and the Kievan Rus too. Kiev was just destroyed, like completely. Almost all people were killed here by Tatar Mongols. What happened next in Moscow, the guy who was on the throne over there, he became like vassal of the Mongols. Like he received the right to collect taxes and goods for Tatars Mongols. And this is when Moscow became stronger than Kiev. Okay, later there were centuries of different wars, and Ukrainian territory belongs to was a principality in Lithuanian and Polish belonged to Lithuanian and Polish principalities. Yes, but there were always Ukrainians who were different from Russians and Polish and Lithuanians. Yes, so we were the other people. If we're talking about like nations, Ukrainians as the nation, those nations, not only Ukrainians, they crystallized like in 19th century, I think, yes, and Ukrainians too. But we already had our Ukrainian identity by this time, you know. So all these years, Ukraine was fighting, was working on creating its own state. But we had neighbors like Lithuania, Poland, Russia, who all of them were, Turkey too, yes, current Turkey, all of them were trying to take this land by force. When we were fighting with all of them to create our Ukrainian state. And in the 20th century, yes, after when the Soviet Union was formed, and like Ukraine was artificially created by Lenin, according to Putin's propaganda, I mean, there was the war here happening. We had, in the beginning of the 20th century, Ukrainian People's Republic that was independent and that was recognized by many European states too, with Ukrainian language as its national language. And that was not like something that happened all of a sudden. That was a result of a very long process of our nation that was, fighting, that was working and fighting to create the state of Ukraine. By the way, Moscow was called, there was no Russian Empire until the 18th century. Only in 1721, the Peter I in Moscow, he decided to call their Moscovian kingdom, Moscovian state, to call it Russia. What he did in the 18th century, he had stolen our Ukrainian Kievan Rus history and culture and named their Moscovian kingdom Russia. One of the YouTubers whose name is Olga Reznikova, I'm sure that all of you guys watched her YouTube channel because she is very popular. She has many subscribers, much more than I do. She basically made a very good video about this history of Ukraine and how Russia has stolen our history. Really good video. So highly recommend you to watch this. So Ukrainian, no, it's not. Ukraine is not an artificial state. Another guy asked me recently in the comments, like, what are the main differences between Ukrainians and Russians? Are there any at all? Like, I didn't answer because this answer needs to be very full and I need to give a lot of information. But yeah, it's a very resourceful work. Well, there are many differences. Come on, we have different language, we have different mentality, we have different food. We are different peoples. It doesn't mean that Russians are bad, but we're just different. And we are not one people. We are different people. About one people, that was Soviet propaganda, how they wanted to make us one people. In the 19th century, when Ukraine was part of the Russian Empire, there was a laws about Ukrainian language. Ukrainian language was completely forbidden. This is how they were trying to create one people. But Ukrainian language survived. And my family, we speak Ukrainian. Then the worst genocide was in 1930s, the Great Famine, Holodomor. I made a video about it. When millions of Ukrainians were just starved to death because Stalin wanted Ukrainian farmers to be in the collective farms, for them to go to kolkhoz and to work for the state, and for Ukrainian peasants not to oppose the creating of the Soviet Union. It was done on purpose. That was artificially created starvation of Ukrainians. And this is how Ukraine became one of the Soviet republics. That was occupation by the Soviet regime of Ukrainian territories. And in 1991, finally, this evil machine, Soviet Union, collapsed, and Ukraine played a great role in this process to destroy this evil empire of the Soviet Union. And we became independent. And these 30 years, we enjoyed our independence, and we were never trying to invade anyone, attack anyone. We just wanted to, speak Ukrainian language, read Ukrainian books, know our history better, for our kids to be proud that they live in this country, to work. I wanted to develop tourism in Ukraine, to make Chernobyl exclusion zone one of the, magnets for the world, because this place is amazing. It is one of the most interesting places in the world to visit. And it has a great potential. So I wanted to work on this. And each of us, yes, here in Ukraine, wanted just to work. Yeah, we were not trying to bring our troops to any other country to bring peace somewhere. And now from Russia, yes, they want to bring peace to Ukraine. That sounds so stupid. Yeah, so Ukraine is not an artificial state. Okay, just read history. I just have here a book for those of you who thinks that Ukraine is an artificial state, or who wants some arguments to have. So this is one of the best books about the history of Ukraine. I highly recommend you to read it. It is written by Serhiy Plokhy. He is Ukrainian, but he is directing the Ukrainian Institute in Harvard University. So he works now in the US. And the book is called The Gates of Europe. A History of Ukraine, The Gates of Europe. So, yes, about artificially created state. There were so many memes and jokes in the Ukrainian segment of internet about this, that Ukraine was artificially created by Lenin. I should collect them and make a video. I will try, but I have the situation. Here it is. Oh, I missed again so many comments. Уберите ребенка. Roblox, уберите себя, если вам не нравится то, что я говорю. Part of my ancestors came from Halik. Thanks for the book recommendation. You are welcome. Hello, Boston. Serhiy Plokhy, well-known author in the USA. Yeah, he's so great. And he's a great person, basically. I'm reading right now his book about Chernobyl, which is the best book about Chernobyl ever, too. It's called Chernobyl, just Chernobyl. Chernobyl, A History of a Tragedy. Okay, thank you for support. Oh, James, you're reading this book. Cool. Yeah, so the book is really great. Olena, today I found a really interesting video showing an old Soviet-era bunker with all the equipment inside, and it was in Kiev. I thought you may want to make a video of it if you find. Yes, that is in my bucket list too. Yes, I want to do this very much, to film these underground tours. And when everything comes down and you come to Ukraine, you should take this tour. I'm not guiding under the ground tunnels. I have never been even there myself, but I know that many tourists do this and enjoy a lot this experience. Yeah, I hope at least that Kiev will not be bombed, and yeah, you will have a chance. Putin shoots down a passenger jet, tries to kill civilians in other countries, and now is taking over another country. Pretty sure he can do whatever he wants. And that makes me basically scared, Jay, what you write. Because yes, looks like for so long the guy is sitting on the throne and he is not punished for the crimes that he is doing. Yes, and that scares me a lot, because it looks like the same was happening to Hitler, right? Like he was just and the world leaders were not reacting at first, thinking that okay, he will just take a bite of Poland and that will satisfy him and he will not be hungry anymore. But you know what happened next? Yes, he was getting more and more hungry, and I'm afraid the same goes for Putin. If right now he will just do this again, if he invades deeper, if he attacks again and tries to take more of Ukraine right now, that should be a signal for, that will be should be alarm for all of us, for not only for Ukrainians. So it's not only about Ukraine, really, it's about the world, because the guy is really dangerous. Now Russia has nuclear arms. And by the way, yeah, this that Russia had to guarantee the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Ukraine. And instead of this, they like attack Ukraine. Whew. Okay. Russians are also good, but the leader is bad. Sterling Matt, very much thank you for this comment. I think so too, that Russians are good, but the leader is bad. And this is why, this is one of my messages that I wanted people to hear, that I know that Russia is not Putin. Basically, my childhood, I was speaking Russian language at school. I was learning in the Russian school, Russian speaking, simply because there were no Ukrainian schools in my town and everybody was speaking Russian. That is a result of the Russification of the town. But anyway, I know Russian literature, and I love Russian literature. And my husband does too. He's from the same region. I read a lot of Chekhov. I read Dostoevsky, Lev Tolstoy. They are my favorite poet. I'm sorry, not Ukrainian, but these guys are my favorite. And my number one writer is Bulgakov with his novel Master and Margaret. Bulgakov even didn't believe in Ukraine, but the novel is great. I mean, I love Russian literature a lot, and I know Russian people. There are very good people. They are very good. Yes, there are bad people too, but I mean, they do not deserve to have such a leader. And I really hope that intelligent Russian people who realize what's going on, who are not that much brainwashed as many of people in Russia right now, that they will stop Putin. So before Ukrainians need to do this, and before the other people from other countries do this, Russians have themselves to stop Putin, because he is absolutely crazy. These people have to protest, I don't know, they have to create their own Maidan to change the authorities, like we did in 2014 in Ukraine. Because if someone is sitting on the throne for so long and he does whatever he wants, and there is no mechanism how you can change it, then you have to protest. This is what Ukrainians would do on their place. But we have different mentality, the Russian people and Ukrainian people. And I don't know if it really will happen, but that is my expectation. I really expect Russia to stand up and change the president. Because he is not good not only for Ukrainians, he is not good for Russian people. Yes, so their rights and freedoms are very much limited right now. under these authorities. Yeah, in democracy I trust. Kim, I'm so angry and frustrated and helpless to help you in Ukraine. Oh, Kim, you helped me personally so many times. I really appreciate all of your, informational help and advices and your financial help. I remember about your financial help. And thank you so much for all of it. And you say you are helpless to help me. You helped me to help Ukraine. Guys, how you can help Ukraine? Yes, apart from sending money donations to the army, apart from, it is possible for the foreigners, by the way, to serve in the Ukrainian army, but I understand that for you it's better to serve in your army than in Ukraine. What you can do, basically the same what I say, to protest, to go to the embassy of Ukraine in your country and to protest, to say that you care, for your politicians to know that you care about Ukraine, because the politicians, they just want control and power, and if they see that nobody cares about Ukraine, they maybe will not support, and they don't want, maybe will not have bad talk with Putin. However, we can see that there are some sanctions voted, and this time there is the reaction of the world is much stronger than it was in 2014, which is really cool, really great. And we in Ukraine are even surprised, like, wow, where have you been in 2014? Yeah, but now we can better see who is who, and it's this is why we have a better reaction. But to make it even more, this reaction, protests, they are happening right now. I see these videos of Ukrainian diaspora and the other people from these countries, like in France, in Paris, in London, in Berlin. People do protest. So far, I don't know, just putting a Ukrainian flag somewhere on your clothes. What we did in Maidan times, we were wearing the blue and the yellow ribbons on our jackets, on our clothes. This time I put the Ukrainian flag on my window, and I see people started doing this too. Yes, just express yourself. The fact that what you write right now in the chat, and that you waste your time on watching Olena talking about Ukraine, even though Olena is not the smartest person and not the biggest expert in Ukrainian politics, but you just watch it because you want to know what's going on in Ukraine, and this is already great. So you do already help a lot. Just keep doing this, and that will help. As American living in Kiev, we are still here and will not abandon our friends. Cool. Thank you for this. However, the others, like if you are the foreigners and you canceled your trip to Ukraine, don't feel guilty. It's just common sense. The situation is really not certain, and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, really. So, I have a reason to stay here at home. This is my home, and I will do whatever is needed to protect my home. So don't feel guilty that you didn't come. Virgil, many Russian families will suffer too if this war happens. Ukraine is a big country and it won't be easy to conquer it. Yes, it will not be easy, and I feel it will be impossible to do, especially with all of this international support right now that we have. I'm sure that it will be impossible for Putin to conquer Ukraine and to tame Ukraine. Just impossible. But very pity that in this war, people, like real people, may die. Every life counts. So this is bad, and it's better not to happen. I mean, 21st century, why is it happening at all right now? Why we are discussing this in the 21st century after all these history lessons that we had? It's like demons, devils, I don't know. I will start believing in devil and God soon. Yes. So we don't want any Russians or Ukrainians to die in the stupid war, in the not senseless war, because there is no hatred between Ukrainians and Russians. We have the borders between us that are recognized many years ago. So there is nothing to, to share. Like, just let Russia be over there, Russian people and Ukrainian people here. Let's trade instead of making the war. Yes, it's the common sense, really. And I hope that Russian people do understand this. And I hope they understand that what's happening are just personal ambitions of their president, of Vladimir Putin, and that Russian people will protest and stop him and just change him, just elect another president. Let it be the elections, but fair election. Not kind of referendum that they organized somewhere in Crimea where people voted, but nobody knows how many people really voted for what. Let it be fair, transparent, and let people express themselves what they really think about Vladimir Putin. Not what they show on TV, but what really people think about this international foreign policy of the current president. Okay, I see that you have discussions about Americans, that Americans do noise. Basically, Americans, I was asked by the American journalist, how do we see here American people, how we see in Ukraine, America as the player. We see America as the good friend. It's like the brother who will protect you, who will help. We see the US, we really count on you guys from the US, on your help. We really need your help, and we really expect your help, and we really hope for your help, and we really feel thankful for your help. So yeah, Ukrainians, they are waiting for the US to support us in this war, because ourselves, for us, it will be very difficult to stop this huge Russian invader. But as I say, I hope that Russian people will be the first to stop Putin. If this doesn't help Ukrainian, we'll stop him at the border of Ukraine or later inside of Ukraine, and we will not be conquered, but just feel pity that many people will die. It's not needed. It can be solved in other way. We are people. We can talk, we can think, we can discuss, we can exchange opinions. This is what I am telling to my children. Yeah, quite often they hit each other. Really, Katya hits Teres very often, and he does so too. But I mean, they are children. We are not, and the presidents of the countries, they shouldn't be children. The cost of this play is too big. It's very interesting to read all of your comments, how you guys discuss the situation and exchange your opinions. And it's cool that you can read these comments and talk between yourself over there. Oh, I promised to Sergei to be with you about 15 minutes. I can see I am with you for about 45 right now. So, and I see that Darina needs, yes, she needs some of my attention, so maybe I will go right now. Yes, I'd like to say thank you very much for your attention. I can see a lot of interest to the situation of Ukraine and in Ukraine, and thank you very much for this. Keep calm, stay strong, love Ukraine. I hope all that nightmare will end soon without any war happening. By the way, That was the Russian writer Fyodor Dostoevsky who wrote that any case is useless. It doesn't mean anything if it costs at least one tear of a child. My children were already crying today because of this possible war with Russia. So that means it already is not good. Yeah. I don't know exact translation, but this is the meaning. So if something costs at least one tear of a child, this is already a bad thing to do. So Putin, do not invade, do not attack Ukraine, go home, fuck off Ukraine, and let us be. I hope, guys, after all of this, you will come to Ukraine very soon, and we will enjoy the country. Slava Ukraini. Goodbye.